Narcissists are everywhere. If you believe the press, social media is making us all more narcissistic, as we beg approval from total strangers for our mediocre achievements and unremarkable appearances. We are told that rates of narcissism are increasing in young people, as society becomes more and more competitive and consumerist. Experts on narcissism in children pin the blame on the parents, who alternately mollycoddle their children or isolate them in daycare, and they decry the teachers who preach self-esteem rather than rewarding genuine achievement. But just how dangerous is this rising tide of narcissism in our society? What are the consequences for the rest of us, and at what point can society degenerate from narcissism into full-blown sociopathy? There are plenty of fictional worlds that portray a sociopathic society. I talked about this in my review of Blade Runner. See the link below this video. However, I think that Gotham, and in particular Christopher Nolan's brilliant rendering of the city in his trilogy of Batman films, provides a fully realized example of a society corrupted by endemic sociopathy and narcissism. The trilogy asks us what the concept of justice really means in a sociopathic society, and the films show us how pathological people corrupt the intention of justice. In this analysis, we will look at three pillars of civil society in Gotham: the economy, the justice system, and politics. Some social critics, especially those on the left of politics, have claimed that one of the building blocks of modern society, the corporation, is inherently sociopathic. As long ago as the 1970s, the psychologist Christopher Lasch theorized that the decline of the traditional Protestant work ethic in the West has led to the normalization of narcissism in society. There is also some fairly good evidence that there are disproportionately high numbers of sociopaths working in the upper echelons of corporations. In Nolan's first Batman film, capitalism has become corrupt, and the city has only superficially healed from an economic depression. The most important corporation in the city, Wayne Enterprises, appears to have become a sociopathic institution. William Earl, the CEO of Wayne Enterprises, portrayed by Rutger Hauer, has strayed far from the Wayne family's ethical principles by investing in dangerous but profitable technologies. The company's fall from grace has dire consequences. This is partly due to Bruce Wayne's neglect of his own legacy, but as Batman, Wayne appropriates some of the weapons his company has developed. Not coincidentally, so does the sociopathic League of Shadows, who steal the microwave device that serves as the bomb in Batman Begins. In the third film, Bruce Wayne's green energy device, which is a great breakthrough for mankind, is also converted into a bomb. Ironically, Bane's misuse of this device is the consequence of Bruce Wayne straying too far into corporate altruism. In The Dark Knight, the Joker treats technology and money with contempt, and Batman's answer is to abuse technology to defeat him. What we can take from this is the importance of human agency. Technology is useful but morally neutral, as is profit. In Gotham, the exercise of power is shaped by the personality of whoever possesses it. So Wayne Enterprises is not an example of Lasch's sociopathic corporation, but it does show how sociopathic and narcissistic people can corrupt commercial institutions and the technologies that they provide. Nolan's three Batman films are a meditation on the idea of justice, but every major character shows us not what justice is, but what it is not. Justice is not the same thing as revenge, punishment, fairness, order, the rule of law, criminal procedure, social justice, or even chaotic randomness. In Gotham, all of these competing concepts of justice are corrupted by the narcissism and sociopathy of those people who choose to embody them. In Batman Begins, we are shown how corruption and crime has infiltrated every level of Gotham's justice system, from cops on the beat to powerful judges. The officers of the law and those who make the law are all infected by narcissism and sociopathy. No one is incorruptible, not even the empathic police commissioner Gordon, who conspires with Batman to cover up the crimes of Harvey Dent. Gordon represents the rules, but comes to realize that the rules are not the same thing as justice. Interestingly, Gordon is the only major character in the films who has children, and so he understands the importance of protecting the innocent at a personal level. And like all characters that have a non-pathological motive for his actions, he is punished for them. The district attorney, Harvey Dent, problematizes another aspect of justice, namely the rule of law. What he illustrates is the absurdity of one man trying to personify this abstract concept, and he shows that knowingly trying to do so is pathological behavior. Dent fits the description of a cerebral narcissist. He is a golden boy with a dark side. He is a clever manipulator, and his narcissism is nourished by his belief in his own virtue and intellect. But, as a narcissist, he only becomes psychotic when his physical appearance is ruined. Dent has other characteristics of the cerebral narcissist. He is possessive romantically. He enjoys the limelight, and his anger at the world's unfairness is deep-seated and almost childlike. It has also been observed that cerebral narcissists may also be socially awkward in certain situations. In contrast to Dent, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, Batman does not pretend to dispense justice. His self-appointed job is quite different. It is to defeat criminals. Wayne understands that revenge is not the same thing as justice. Batman doesn't represent order. He enjoys breaking social taboos, and he is happy to bend but not break the rules, and he flouts established procedures so that he can get things done. His one rule, no guns, no killing, remains intact throughout the trilogy, at least on paper.
I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
But even Bruce Wayne is not without his narcissistic qualities. He is, rightly, convinced of his own strength and abilities. However, he is astonishingly naive in his reactions to women. This gets him into trouble, especially with narcissistic and sociopathic women, who he is rather too prone to trust. Placing Rachel Dawes on a pedestal leads him to socially withdraw after her death, which then leads him into forgivable complacency over the resurgent League of Shadows in the third film. His self-indulgent wallowing and inattention has direct and terrible consequences. Batman's shadow, the Joker, also has a blind spot with women and doesn't know how to deal with them. He is, essentially, a projection of Batman, and the Joker pushes all the Caped Crusader's weaknesses and foibles to an absurd, psychotic extreme. Batman is inwardly scarred, the Joker is outwardly scarred. Wayne's father worked at the hospital, the Joker blows it up. As his name suggests, the Joker is, quite simply, a mockery of Batman. It is important to remember that, as with all psychopaths, nothing the Joker says can be taken at face value. He is a consummate and elaborate planner, and yet he purports to be an agent of chaos. But despite delivering some great one-liners, the Joker is a nihilist and doesn't really have anything profound to say. This supposedly chaotic rule breaker is bound by the rules because without them, he has nothing to joke about. Like all narcissistic people, Everything he says is psychological projection or attention seeking.
So you think Batman's made Gotham a better place? Look at me.
Look at me!
At the most basic level, the Joker is anti-human. He doesn't seem to have any of the usual human appetites for money, power, sex, or even food. This is a man who gatecrashes a buffet, but eats the flowers. The Joker is indeed insane, but not in the narrow sense. He is morally insane. And as psychologists are fond of saying, insanity is a legal concept, but not a therapeutic one. Narcissism has corrupted politics in Gotham, and so it has strayed far from any kind of underpinning in a principled values system. The part of Mayor Anthony Garcia was created specially by Nolan for the films, and is ably portrayed by the Spanish actor Nestor Carbonell in the second and third films. Gotham's mayor does not get a lot of screen time, but I think he is critically important. In The Dark Knight, Garcia embodies politics as deal-making, hitching himself to Harvey Dent's rising star to increase his own popularity. Yet Garcia's character arc is from machine politician into a man worth taking a bullet for. He is a speechmaker, a figurehead manipulated by powerful bureaucrats in The Dark Knight Rises. Shortly before his murder at the ball game, he appears to have room in his heart for American values as he mouths the words of the national anthem. Garcia embodies civilized politics, business as usual, and the established order, and, as usual in the films, any hint of idealism is rewarded with severe consequences. Of course, Bane is the antithesis of the civilized but sleazy politics personified by Mayor Garcia. Bane likes to make speeches too, and he purports to be a lot of things. A terrorist, a visionary, a revolutionary, an instrument of justice, or the hand of destiny. He is not really any of those things. He's not a terrorist because his demands are a sham, and his revolution is just a criminal rampage with its own sick brand of justice. In fact, The Dark Knight Rises is the film that explores the concept of social justice most fully of all the trilogy. Bane is an exaggeration of the type of person that foments bloody revolution in which the social order is turned on its head. The League of Shadows, which Bane purports to lead after the death of Ra's al Ghul in the first film, has its own ideology, and that ideology is rooted in a particular view of history.
Crime, despair. This is not how man was supposed to live. The League of Shadows has been a check against human corruption for thousands of years. We sacked Rome, loaded trade ships with plague rats, burned London to the ground. Every time a civilization reaches the pinnacle of its decadence, we return to restore the balance.
As well as being a crime syndicate, the League of Shadows has a belief system founded on the idea that all civilizations have cycles of creation and destruction, with the League's job being to carry out the destruction part. Bane is hardly the first tyrant to use history or destiny as his justification, and of course, historical determinism is the Marxist worldview. But Bane's politics go back much further than 20th century tyrants like Lenin or Stalin. Bane is Gotham's answer to Maximilien Robespierre, one of the architects of the French Revolution and the ensuing terror. The French Revolution is a motif in The Dark Knight Rises, and at the funeral for Bruce Wayne, who is of course very much alive, a famous passage about self-sacrifice from Charles Dickens's masterpiece A Tale of Two Cities gets a rather ironic reading. Interestingly, Robespierre believed strongly in the notion that history is fiction. He is also said to have remarked that the government in a revolution is the despotism of liberty against tyranny. This piece of sociopathic doublespeak aligns very well with Bane's perverse logic, where the end justifies the means, and of course the means are to be enjoyed. So, what are the politics of Bane, this Robespierre on roids? Every revolution has its own cult, and narcissists thrive in cults. Psychologists have observed that all narcissists create their own cults around them, complete with their own priests and heretics, and only the narcissist knows what the rules really are. Loyalty to the narcissist must be beyond question. Above all, the mentality of the cult is us and them. So if we are to judge those in our society who call for radical change, we must examine those who follow them. Are there signs that their followers are brainwashed? Does the movement have its in-group and its out-group? Are the cult's beliefs presented as a path to true enlightenment? We live in a time when narcissistic political cults are thriving across the Western world, and while they claim to act on behalf of the oppressed, they never acknowledge their own moral responsibility in their actions. So, what are we supposed to do about the narcissists and sociopaths among us who corrupt and pervert the principles of our society? First of all, some good news. We are not Gotham yet, and we do have a justice system that puts many of the most criminally dangerous narcissists and sociopaths in jail, on the proviso that they must first commit a crime. Secondly, we can raise awareness about the giveaway behaviours of narcissistic and sociopathic people. An inability to understand other people's point of view and a desire to punish them are strong indicators. Thirdly, we can put an end to postmodern moral relativism, rediscover basic ethical principles, and demand minimum standards of behaviour. What Batman tells us is that we do not need new laws to accomplish this. We just need to be a bit more like Batman. We just need to be prepared.
What the hell are you?